just started making a Instagram short form story, and I'm like, this is gonna just drag on for too long, so I'm like, I'll just jump onto a live instead, and I'm just going to talk and fire away. This is just, I suppose, anyone that it may be interested to. So basically, here's the thing. So I'm not going to say I'm on any side, or I'm not going to say I support a team, but we do live in a society that is designed around, we must cheerlead for a team, and we must have a side. And there's lots of things that we can pick a side with when it comes to something on a social platform. Now, this is in regards to Andrew Tate and everything around Andrew Tate. I have shared some posts of Andrew Tate. Now, there's this, now with him being arrested, now he's been arrested, not charged, but arrested and detained for human trafficking and rape allegations and setup of a criminal enterprise or criminal group, whatever you want to call it. So I've shared posts, not in a way of going, hey, I like this guy and all of these things. It's more in a way of, it backs up and it gives credit if I speak a certain way, that it sort of like allows others that sort of understand something that is happening or something that is going on. So I remember a few months back, my algorithm on Instagram showed me this guy doing nunchucks. And I'm like, wow, who's this dude? And it was Andrew Tate. And I just seen a couple of things, and there was a couple of cars and, smoking cigars and stuff. And I'm not saying he reminded me of Dan BILZERIAN, but I don't follow Dan. I think Dan is sort of like the modern day Hugh Hefner. And if somebody was to say to me, what's your thoughts on Hugh Hefner? I would say that Hugh Hefner was a government asset. I'd say Hugh Hefner was a way that the American government could get certain politicians or certain high-rank officials into the Playboy Mansion and have them do something where they could bribe them long term. And I heard that in the HEFNER house, that there was sort of like rooms that have glass in them where they can record. There was like some secret tunnels. There was not secret tunnels, but there was like a blueprint for some form of construction plan that had like an underground tunnel along those lines. So I believe that Hugh Hefner was a part of some like honeypot trap or something like that. You see it with the likes of Epstein. Epstein was the same. It's a big web. It's a big web of honeypot traps, and it's a way of, hey, I've got a belief. I want this pushed. I want this bill pushed. I want this plan pushed. Like we're looking at a globalization, like a big tech corporation globalization of the world. So how do you do that? How do you enforce that if you've got individual people that are just going to speak, or individual people like, say, a politician? A politician's going to be like, yeah, great, I stand for the people, I support this, I support that, yeah, I'm going to boost jobs, I'm going to boost hourly rate, I'm going to lower the tax, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, yeah, I'm on your side. And then they come in with the best intention, and the next minute it's like, well, no, you're not doing that because we've got this big long 20-30 year plan, and you've got to stick to the plan because there's contracts signed, so you have to do this. Well, if they're compromised, then they're going to have to do as they're told. And this is what you see with a lot of politicians that are in play. they'll get them and they're like, they might slide them an envelope. Oh, remember that time you went to that party and you done this? Oh, I'll put that tape out. I'll put that thing out, you know, and that is sort of like what Hugh Hefner would do. And that's what happens in the political realm. And it's got, you seen what happened with Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky. You know, you heard about Epstein. I don't want to talk about Epstein, right? So to me, that is what Dan Brazilian was a part of as well, because what he was doing, he was getting away with shit that he should not be doing. And if you're getting away with shit that you should not be doing, you must have handlers. Like what Andrew Tate was talking about, saying that you can only get away with so much unless you've got handlers, right? So I'd never followed Dan because I believe that Dan was a very similar type of guy that would lure people in as a political trap, and that's how he got away with that, right? So going back to Tate, right? Respect to you too, my man. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah. I'm just doing a video in regards to Andrew Tate and him getting arrested, and that I've shared posts about Andrew Tate. So it's sort of just to touch on my view on Andrew and my view on a few other things, you know, even going as far as Kanye West, because I share posts of specific people to back up what I talk about, and the next minute they're in trouble. So yeah, congrats on the child and wife. Thanks, dude. Well, almost my wife. We are engaged, and yes, our son will be 6 weeks old on Monday. That's Friday here today in Australia. So my son, he's great. It blows my mind. And yeah, I know I remember we spoke last year, so I remember you popping by and sending me a message. So I support, I salute you, and I support, I don't know what I support. I mean, I think I've said that back to front. I value your support. And thank you for sticking around, because, you know, I say some wild shit, and it's not for everyone. You know, I remember in early 2000, you know, you're all right, my man, all good. I remember in early 2000s I was saying shit, and my closest friends were all unfollowing me because of what I'd say. Call them up now, like, hey, now we're up. Now look what's going on. Anyway, so Andrew Tate, right? So okay, so he's been arrested. Anyway, right. So I seen Andrew Tate pop up on Instagram, and I'm like, oh yeah, look, I like his message, and I sort of like what he's saying. But the next minute, he just kept appearing. And there's a guy that I listen to in regards to crypto called Anthony Pompiano. And he used to have he's changed the name of his channel. He used to have a show on YouTube called The Best Business Show, but it's Pomp Podcast. So I follow Pomp through in the Bitcoin space, right? So Andrew Tate was on Pompiano's podcast, and I listened to the whole lot. It was like, it almost went for 2 hours, but Pompiano's headline was something about the next Alex Jones. So it caught my attention, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Why is this guy the next Alex Jones? So anyway, so I've watched what this guy's got to say, and basically what he's talking about is everything that happened 2020 and everything that happened 2021. And I could relate to it, because I'm like, yeah, like this is pretty much like what I'm saying, and you know, I understand what this guy's talking about. But I by that time I was still following him, right? Him and his nunchuck moves in his household. So next minute, I'm at my house, and I think I watched another video of Andrew Tate. Anyway, next minute I'm at home, and then my partner, fiance, she goes, "Oh, how about that Andrew Tate? He's a misogynistic, da-da-da," saying all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? She goes, "He's misogynistic." And I went, now, one thing that happened was people were going onto TikTok and getting short form audio soundbite clips that would go for 16 seconds. And these 16-second clips could be titled with specific words: misogynistic, woman hater, feminist, anything they want. So people, and through algorithms, so this, you know, these high level contact creators, I know, but these high level contact creators, because they were sort of getting the views, and it was sort of like trending in a way, the algorithm would push whatever was a top view, like a recommendation, right? So it was being spread all around the world. So there was more videos saying that Andrew Tate was misogynistic. So my partner's like, "Oh, he's misogynistic." And I was like, by this time, I probably listened to about 5 hours of Andrew Tate content. Now, I know what social media and news media does, because they've done it with Donald Trump, you know, and they've done it with Donald Trump. So I'm 6 years deep into understanding what the media does in a way of taking small clips, attaching a story to it, which is a complete lie and a complete misrepresentation of what it is that they're actually saying. So when my partner's saying this to me about Andrew Tate, I'm trying to reason with her, and she's like, "No, you know," and she'd already had it set that this is who this guy was. He's a misogynistic. So I'm trying to explain to her how it all works, right? Anyway, she didn't want to have a bar of it, and then, you know, next minute he's blocked and he's banned, and, you know, he's deplatformed everywhere. By this stage now, I've gone from probably about 5 hours to maybe 10 hours of listening to Andrew Tate, because he's gone around a big ring of YouTube channels and podcasts that I listen to. I don't think he was on the Neck Boys, but I know he was on Pomp's podcast, and he was on a few others. So I'd heard everything he said, and I got it, and I understood it. And then I heard all of the noise in the background where everybody's smashing him and name calling and da-da-da. And I didn't like that. And I'm like, these are people that have no idea what he's saying. I understood what he was saying. I didn't see any way that it was misogynistic. I didn't see any way that it was repulsive. I didn't see any way that he was attacking women. I understood what he was saying, because he was actually trying to explain how the system is and how it works, and how everybody is attacking him is exactly how he's saying it is to be. And this is exactly what happens to David Icke. This is exactly what happens to Alex Jones. This is exactly what happens to Donald Trump. You know, and it's all directed at the people that talk against the narrative. Anyway, obviously Andrew Tate is then deplatformed. He's removed. Strangely now, things that followed was my algorithms on my YouTube. I wasn't looking for him. My algorithms on my YouTube were sharing recommendations of those shorts, those short clips, and just these little, little sound bites. And he started to appear everywhere. Anyway, I let it go, and I let all the the smoke sort of settle. And then he was on Piers Morgan, and then he was on a few other shows. There's another one called Valuetainment. I listened to that. That was a 4-hour podcast, right? So now the whole era of Andrew Tate, I've gone from 5 hours, I've gone from 10 hours, I've now gone to probably 20 hours of listening to what he's talking about. And still, I don't get the misogynistic. I don't get this attack. I don't get all the things that he's saying, right? Anyway, so obviously he's come back, and he's back on Twitter. He's back, being opinionated, saying all these things. So what happens in the world of entertainment is that you have handlers, and you got to say this and you got to say that, and if you're not doing what everyone else is doing, you sort of cancelled, or you shadow banned, or you're deplatformed, or they come out for you, and it's like a witch hunt, and they just come out, they come after you, right? And it's so one thing that Andrew Tate talks about is that that they tried to lure him in to say, hey, come on our team, we'll pay you so much money. But he said, no, fuck that. I'm not a part of that. I don't want to be paid and bought. As soon as he said, no, fuck that, and he started speaking about that, then they started to then deplatforming and so on. And then with all the other videos that he's doing, he then turns around and he says it in 3 points. The final one is that then they kill you. The second one, I think he says that they try and deplatform you, they try and remove you, stuff like that. Then I think he goes, then they try and put you in hospital, or they try and make you sick, or they try and arrest you. And then he goes, and then if all of those two fail, then you are killed. So what he's saying is very accurate, because there has been a lot of people that have followed this path. Michael Jackson, it happened to Michael Jackson, right? Kanye West, they hospitalized they hospitalized Kanye West. Prince, there are all these people, high level people, that have spoken out about the dark occult, the cult of the unknown, this thing that we do not know exists, though we know it exists. Some call it the Illuminati, some call it the Cabal, some call it the deep state, some people call it this, some people call it that. The all-seeing eye, it's something, right? Something exists beyond the 3D that's maybe in the fourth dimensional world, that ties to some way of Egyptian god, or I think they call it the Eye of Horus, or whatever it may be. Funny enough, my roofing company is based off an Egyptian god, almost like a little bit of Freemasonry, which is quite funny. There's a bit of a story behind that, right? So I do have the Egyptian sun god, the god of Ra, as a part of my company logo. And this is almost very similar to who these elites sort of maybe worship, rumor has it. So we have seen, right, a lot of look at history. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Tupac, Princess Di, JFK. There's all of these names that have spoken a certain way. That was crazy. That was crazy, bro. There's a lot going on. So I had a fire engine on the other side of the road. Wow, honk its horn. Anyway, so we have had a series of people, big icon people, that have been smoked and mysteriously disappeared. We've just watched what's happening with Kanye West, and I'll go into Kanye West, but I'll go further into this thing with Tate, right? And my point to this, because I literally shared what Tate said yesterday in his response to Greta. Now, there's people on the left and people on the right. There's people going on about, oh, Andrew Tate got owned by Greta Thunberg, da-da-da-da-da. Well, maybe not, right? He was just sort of retaliating. And now, next minute, as soon as he went after Greta, somebody that speaks for the for the handlers of this world, the corporation, right? And this young girl who's just such a powerful voice in a movement that I don't think she has any idea of. I'm not saying she doesn't have any idea what she's talking about, but what she's talking about is very incorrect, because, you know, I live in a country that is being fucked with, and our weather's being fucked with. Weather's being fucked with all around the world. We've had crazy fires. They blame fires for climate change, but as far as I know, the sun is not heating the planet up, causing fires, when these fires are labeled as arson attacks. Next minute, you've got catastrophic fires, you know, and they're going, oh, it was arsons, or it was this, or it was that, you know, and it's wildfires, and it's all these things. Arsons have got nothing to do with climate change. And when you go behind the scenes and you go beyond it, you will see that these fire paths have big multi-billion-dollar infrastructure plans in the near future that have been signed for. So, fire or no fire, it seems like every catastrophic crisis Australia faces, New South Wales, Melbourne, there's a future development plan right in that area. Floods, all sorts of things, right? So when Greta starts to talk about the planet's dying, well, I'm like, well, I mean, it's not dying. The weather hasn't changed, you know. It's 28 degrees here. You know, usually this time of year, it's in its 40s. We have not had a 40-degree day this summer. Last year, I don't even think we had a 40-degree day. You know, Britain, it snowed last week, and they're talking climate change. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's always snowed in Britain. The thing about climate change is the climate's never changed. It hasn't changed. Weather patterns have changed. The climate hasn't. And you'll see that man's got his dirty little fingertips involved in this, right? So Greta talking, I think, you're a sort of a way of getting the younger generations to hear your voice. You're a voice to create a movement. Social engineering, you know, like they go on about climate change and stuff like this. Well, what are we doing to help the planet? What are we doing to move into a sustainable way? Because it's we're not moving, and the right message isn't being told to move into a sustainable world. Their way of treating climate change is to enslave us, right? So there's a huge crack in this message of climate change. So Greta's message to the younger generation is just like, I don't want to say it, but it is. It's like mind control. It's like a cult following, you know. She's like, she talks about, how dare you? My generation is ruined. Yeah, it's the people that pay her, that support her, that she's saying, how dare you? She works for the organizations that are responsible for the fucking bullshit that this planet goes through, right? I'm not ruining the planet. It's big corporation. It's big tech. It's big mining industry, right? Like, what about all of these soy farms, and what about all of these palm oil? You know, they're coming in through the Amazon, burning the Amazon to get palm oil, and because it's an ingredient for something. Like, who's given the rights for these people to go and destroy the Amazon? And it's not even regrowing, right? So, corporation, factory farming through McDonald's. You know, there's over 300 million cattle, 300 million kilograms of cattle that are killed for the production of fake cattle, it's probably factory farm cattle, that are produced for McDonald's. Well, McDonald's is junk food. Why don't they close down all the McDonald's? Why don't they close down KFC, factory farm chicken? They're saying that the agricultural and the meat industry is a leading cause of climate change. Okay, well, I'm happy if you close all McDonald's and all KFCs, but no, they keep building them, right? So how can you say that this is the cause of something, but yet you're further increasing it, right? So there's a huge flaw in the argument. Anyway, almost within 24 hours of Tate responding to Greta, now Tate is arrested. Now, Tate has been detained and is in the police station. They're not saying whether it is he is charged or whether, you know, these allegations, but trafficking, creating a criminal or like a crime group, syndicate, or whatever it may be. Now, if these charges stand and this guy goes to jail, you will never see me ever again share an Andrew Tate post, you know, if this is the case, right? But whatever this guy's history is a part of, you know, you've got to just sit back and ask all these questions rather than the media just pumping you full of this information, trying to get your mind to be on their side and trying to change the way you think and going, oh, now this guy is the bad guy. Like, you know, there is mass human trafficking that goes on around the world. And now all of a sudden, one guy that they already hate, Andrew Tate, has been arrested for something that the American government covers up. You know, the American government covers up. You know, look what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, right? Prince Andrew went to Epstein Island and was seen with photographs with teenage girls. That didn't get momentum. That guy didn't go to jail. That guy didn't get arrested. That is a part of the royal family associated with one of the biggest child sex trafficking, human trafficking rings known to man under Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and all of these things. And not one person was arrested. Not one person was arrested through the case of Ghislaine Maxwell going to Epstein Island. But, you know, Andrew Tate instantly gets, you know, arrested. Like, this is what you have to look at in, you know, the hypocrisy of some things. And at the beginning of this video, I was saying about Hugh Hefner working for the government, right? So, you know that Epstein worked for the government. You know these people work for the government, and there is a goddamn traffic accident on the other side of the road, which is the way I've got to go. I've just seen another fire brigade shoot past, and I'm going to get stuck in that traffic. So I'm going to have to go another way home. But yeah, so just watch and see. And look, I'm not saying I've got a lot of time in my hands, but I do get alternate information from external sources, and I believe people more than I believe paid news reporters reading a script that suits a narrative, you know, and all you have to do is just take a step back and go and look at what everybody is saying in response to this. Just observe and have a look and see what side people are speaking from. Like, see their approach and the words that they're using, and see theirs, because usually as you come down the tier of things, you will find that people are just repeating what they have heard. It's not actual fact and it's not real information. And this is what you have to be careful about when it is on social media. Now, you know, I say a lot of things. You know, are the things that I say misinformation? Are the things that I say just repeated words? I think, I feel, and I believe something. And I go on to speak what I think, believe, and feel. And how I think, feel, and believe is basically based on my perception. of a reality that I live in. And there are millions of people around the world that feel and think and act and believe and tap into the things that I am saying. So my information is how I see things, right? It's not in the way of being misinformation. What I'm saying doesn't need to have to be fact checked. I mean, yeah, I put so many posts up and then they're attaching links and they're saying all these things. You know, we're in this age of information warfare. You know, there's some things that I shared in my story today that just back up everything we went through over the last 2 years and going down the rabbit hole of misinformation, right? So anyway, so just go into when I was speaking earlier about Kanye West and the similarities with Andrew Tate. Now, whatever seems to happen with Andrew Tate, and also another person too that this happened to is John McAfee. They done the same thing to John McAfee, and you know, he was on the run, and the next minute, boom, he was smoked. He was killed. So this is what now is going through with Andrew Tate, and chances are Andrew Tate probably will end up being shot and dead. But just in regards to, again, just to wrap this part up with Andrew Tate, sit back, have a look, see what's going on, see all the talking points, and observe. Go and get your own information, find out what's really being said, find out what's really going on, and learn. So Kanye West, right? So Kanye West reappeared back on the scene and started dropping some hammers, and then I started sharing some stuff that he was saying, and so I was cheerleading for Kanye West, and the next minute, boom, he went and said that he praises Hitler. He went and said that he loves Hitler. And now this is the weaponized media coming out, attacking the things that he's gone and said. And so I now look stupid. So I now look stupid if I'm now supporting a guy that's gone and said that he loves, you know, Hitler and da-da-da-da-da. But there is some mass conflicts. Actually, let me take that word conflict back. Let me take a step back. I found myself with this whole Kanye West thing very similar to Tate in a way of I'd seen the videos. So I watched the Alex Jones show. I watched him on what's his name? Oh my God, what's his name? Lex Friedman's show. I'd watched him on a few others. So I'd probably got over 10 hours of Kanye West content before everybody started, you know, saying, oh, he hates the Jews and he hates this. I always going to say it's not what he said, it's what he's saying, you know. And he talks about that, you know, Hitler was compromised by dark forces or dark spirit, or, you know, by the devil, or of his handlers having a satanic agenda, and that he was under, say, a sense of mind control and just done what the devil told him to do, right? Because he never had love. So it's like, okay, well then how do we replace that? How do we accept this thing? And it's like, how can you hate someone? Because if we hate, so in the context of what he's saying, if we hate Hitler for what he done, and Hitler done what he done because he had no love, then who are we to say that? Because we're basically identical to that. So it's like, we have to love. And once we love and shift that collective into love, then there will be no repeating of what Hitler done, basically. So I have to love Hitler. I have to love the Nazis. That's what he's saying. He has to love, because if he holds hate, he is just mimicking and in replica of what those that have hated, those that have worshipped the devil. So he's like, well, the opposite of the devil is God, is love. So I have to have the opposite of them, but yet I have to love them because God loves them. Because God, or the creator, is right up the very top. Okay? And through the balance of positive and negative and positive and negative frequency and good and dark and light, you know, yin and yang, you've got to have some form of balance that is good and is bad, right? Beyond the creator, you have God, and God is love and hate. God is good and evil. God is the devil. God is also Jesus. You know, with balance and bringing these things into our life, we're all the same, right? But yet we entertain something that leads us in a specific path. So we'll entertain the idea of dark because we're surrounded by darkness energy. You know, you look in society, what do you see in society? I always go down the rabbit hole and I say, media is weaponized. Media turns the people against each other. You know, like you're targeted or you're labeled as something. Media has a name for you. Media has put you in a category where you belong. Because if you don't fit the narrative, then those that you're conversating with outside in the public have a name for you. And this is all the anti that come out. You know, you're a climate change denier, and you're anti-vax, and you're anti-this, and you're anti-that, and you're white supremacist, and you're anti-Semitic, and you're a bigot, and you're misogynistic. You know, this is the name that they've labeled, right? So mainstream media is forming hate on the people rather than accepting and understand what's happening, because it's them telling us the information for us to believe. You know, how many of us hop in a car and we get angry because of what someone done out there? You know, we have these alterations in like in traffic. You know, you have road rage. You have like, how many people do accidentally bump us in the shops, and you get all angry and outraged too. And it's like, we're at this low vibrational frequency that we're stressed, we're frustrated, we resent people, we hate people, we judge people. And that's what society breeds. You know, so if society is breeding a negative sort of environment, well then when you go to the positive and light, the positive and negative, you're going to be steering negative. So that is a part of the dark force. So Kanye West is like, no, you have to accept the light. We all must return to God. And if you go beyond this 3D world understanding and tap into the 4th D of trying to analyze what's going on in a 12th dimensional universe, right? You know, you look at, you know, trying to understand what is the 4D. They go, oh, this is a 3D reality, you know? 3D reality is being controlled by something 4th D, 5th D, maybe 6th D, maybe even 2D lower dimensional darker energies. You know, something is controlling this thing. You know, the all-seeing eye, the Illuminati, something is controlling a darker force. Now this darker force, let's just say it is in the 4th dimension, right? Well then what is the 4th dimension? Well, this is the 3rd dimension. And the fish are or anything in the ocean is 2-dimensional. So the fish are in the ocean, 2-dimensional, unaware that there are people out here participating in this world in the 3D. They're below us, we're above them. It's like we go fishing, we pull a fish out, and then the fish will then know, oh, there's fucking more to this. Well, that's like us. The human species are in this construct very similar to fish living in the ocean. There is something beyond us, but until we get pulled out, alien abduction or taking a form of psychedelic, DMT, ayahuasca, until something fucking pulls us out by the fishing rod, then we can see beyond this realm of things, right? So a way of understanding what is happening around us, you have to look beyond the 3D, you know? Okay. I just read the comment then. Scott was sometimes there's a delay, so I'm trying to read what you said and then I'm trying to put on what part you were saying was mind-blowing. But I've almost lost my train of thought, right? So Kanye West, right? I lost where I was going with that. But you have to understand, so Kanye West is like, his message is positive, and you know, you got to do all this love because there's such hate, and hate is a part of this environment, right? So we do have to shift. But anti-Semitic, you know, what is? Nah, you're right, man. Anti-Semitic, like, we're nothing, man. Like, we are nothing. We are not words. We are not labels. We are not a name. You know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? And beyond that, we are nothing in a materialistic world. So we are nothing of labeling. We are not labeled. We are not labels. We are not, so like, when did the English language come into us speaking? Like, when we're a kid, we have to learn to talk. We are something beyond or something more than the words that we use before we actually even become to talk, right? So we are something. We are forming in the womb as creation beyond any form of labeling. You're misogynistic. You're anti-Semitic. No, because I was something far fucking greater than that before I even learned to talk. So I am not anything labeled in this materialistic world because I am something far greater, something far more powerful, beyond this understanding with the eyes and with the brain, you know, or with the mind that computes words. You know, like, I can understand somebody without them even talking to me. You know, somebody can perform an action and I know what they are doing. So why do I then have to identify you're anti-vax, you're anti-this, you're anti-Semitic? I'm none of those, right? So this is what we're up against. So when you see the likes of Kanye West, Andrew Tate, Alex Jones, David Icke, Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, all being under attack for something, for what? For something that we don't understand, but yet the media is telling us you have to hate that person. So why I go on to say the things that I go on is because I know that there is a problem with that, you know, and a problem with that. There's a problem with the attacking. So this whole attacking of Andrew Tate's misogynistic, there's something further. So I can't listen to that. So I can't go, yes, this person is this name, because it's beyond that. Because again, it's weaponized media. They're targeting an individual, and that is then spreading more hate, more divide, more argument on this plane of nothingness that exists because it's been created so we don't have any form of unity, right? So we all need to sit back and just observe, and really listen to those people that are saying things. You know, there are popular people out in this world that I have no idea what they're saying, right? I don't have time to listen to them, and it's always the controversial people that I feel like, oh, I understand what you're saying, because there is actually something that's happening in this world that doesn't make sense. And it's like we all can feel and sense something is happening, though we cannot put our finger on what it is, you know. And it's like we are all being distracted. And then when someone turns around and goes, oh, I had an awakening, and then someone prophesized human consciousness is going to go through an awakening in a way of coming out of a long collective sleep, like a DNA coma that's been passed down through our ancestral lineage. And then we're all experiencing something like that. You're then like, well, who's prophesizing this thing? And then when you look at all the prophecy, and then prophecy speaking on all of these term of events, and then you're like, holy shit, you know, you've got the book of Revelation, you've got people that talk about the mark of the beast, you've got end time prophecies, you've got things that are written in Genesis, you've got rapture, you've got, you know, the Messiah, you've got all of these prophecies, you've got all of these things that are actually taking place, and yet we see it around us, but yet it's being squashed and silenced. So those see it and those that not, some people call them NPCs, right? And a lot of people use the word as, you need to wake up. People need to wake up. People need to wake up. Well, it's not the way of saying, hey, everyone needs to wake up. It's more the fact of like, we're just got to remember who we are and remind ourselves how to live, and to, you know, find who we truly are in such a hijacked system that's heavily compromised. So I think that's where I'm gonna leave it. The only reason I've talked for so long is because I need to turn this off, but I need to pull over, and I'm actually going through a big long tunnel that I feel has multiple cameras in here, and I don't want to touch the phone because it's double demerit season. But look, you know what? Kanye West, Scott said, bro, thank you, I've listened to it all. Well, look, there's more to come of this, because I'm diving back into my YouTube channels, and the content that I'm going to start to create and the things that I'm going to speak about are very interesting things. I think I will go down the rabbit hole a little bit with Andrew Tate. I'm definitely going to do a video and go down the rabbit hole with Kanye West, but images and clips and a few edits to understand things, and to really just like take a diversion and just start to show people what they're missing out on, right? Well, Sam, I've done a video that's uploaded today, but that's about cryptocurrency. There is a part in that video that I've actually cut out that I want some people to see, because I actually sort of talk a little bit on some things that's been happening over the last 30 years, but I cut that out of the video, and I'll have to put that in the Rumble one. The video that I've uploaded is about 1 hour and 30 minutes, but our recording was 2.5 hours. So there's a lot of stuff that's not in the video. But yeah, like, we're limited with information, especially here in Australia. So I want to sort of create a way of navigating and understanding media, but also show people the media and the information that they're missing out on. I'm going to do one about the Twitter files with Elon Musk, and I'm just going to go over all of the Twitter files, and I'm going to just go and I don't know whether I'll do it live. Might do it live on YouTube in real time, or I might record it. But yeah, these are some of the things that I'm going to be doing anyway. So yeah, but thanks for listening. So that's a wrap. And I'll end it as soon as I get out of the tunnel, which I feel like it's not ending anytime soon. Oh, here we go. Almost at the end. Can you do a video, mate? Because our time is different. What do you mean by that? Can you do a video, mate? Because our time is different. Yes. Thanks. We'll catch you on the other side. Well, this is a video. Oh yes, I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, look, just go and go in the link in my bio, and you've got my YouTube channel there. Go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you will then see all the videos that I make, and there will be little announcements if I've got to divert if I have to divert audiences, because there's some things that you cannot talk about on the internet. So that's why I have to be careful, and that's also too why I don't really do these videos that much, because they're not for everyone. And you know, if I was following someone like me that was always, you know, rambling on with these types of things, I'd be like, I've got to go, man. Like, I don't have time for this. Like, you know, we got to remind ourselves to live. And one of the biggest problems that we also face is the fact that we become what we consume. So if I start speaking all of this stuff and we're just consuming that, then you tend to then alter your perception of reality based off the words that I'm using, which aren't really happening in your place, right? Because my reality is this, what I'm seeing, not exactly what I'm seeing on my handheld device. You know, it's beyond that, and we can get caught in that trap. So I'm very resistant in what I spit out, because I'm just like, I don't want to, you know, I like, what time is it? It's 3, I'm going to pull over. It's 3 p.m. in the afternoon, but look, I'm pulling over. I'm going to put an end to this video, and yeah, all the best, guys. Thanks for sticking around, and follow my YouTube channel, because it's the follow my YouTube, didn't say it properly. Follow my YouTube channel, because I don't have that many subscribers and I want more. I want 1,000. I've got 432. So peace out, enjoy, bye bye.